about a Christian principle in not growing weary in doing good. And I thought that there's so much content that we do share on Facebook, on our YouTube channel, on Instagram, about moms relaxing and, taking it easy with their children and not putting curriculum above character. And, if things are going bad, take the day off. We put a lot of stuff there, and that is something that we truly believe and adhere to in our own families. But there is a time when we have to push through the difficult things. We have to face hardship. We have to face suffering. And if we look at what's going on in the world today, there are so many things that do press in on us and press in on our children that can make us weary. And I thought that we could perhaps just cover a couple of things in how to encourage moms when they are weary to just push through and continue to do good in their homes, in their marriage, with their children, in their home educating, in the communities. So quite a big topic, but we'll try and keep it short and sweet and real like we normally do. So your initial thoughts?
Well, there's a lot of different things that can cause you to be weary. It can just be the physical mess and chaos and whatever that little kids cause, especially when you've got toddlers, or it could be like emotional things that you're dealing with. You and your spouse are suddenly going through a hard time and you're distressed, but now you've got to put on your happy mommy smile and just go through your day with your kids. Meanwhile, your heart is breaking inside because of words that were spoken or something. So there's like multiple layers of hardship that we face. But I think you have to always just sit and acknowledge how you're feeling, and you can only change what you can change. So, if it's an argument that's ongoing or that you're going to get back to later, or something that you just have to get through the day, you just got to do that. But I think if you just choose to do some things that make you feel you've accomplished something, either with your children or about how you're feeling or just your chores or something, I think that helps, because it's when you feel like you're useless and nothing's changing and everything's a mess, that's when you can really spiral downwards. Yeah. So I think you've got to just find some things that you can grab hold of and that you can control and can push through and do and get done. And that helps. And I know that when I'm emotionally turned up, often that's when I start cleaning. Just go stand up and wash the dishes, because it's such a mindless task that I can wash dishes and process, or I'll start, cleaning the bathroom. I'll go and have a shower and I end up scrubbing the shower or something. So, you're churning inside, but you're getting something done on the outside. Yeah. But I think you've just got to choose what you can do in that given situation, and that has helped me. It's
really good news. I know that some people that I know who have struggled with quite severe depression, they say one of the biggest things for them to do is to get out of bed, make their bed, have their shower, put on proper clothes. And if that's what they've done, it immediately gives them a sense of, okay, I've done the right thing. So that's on the physical sort of practical side. I was thinking of a time in our life when, sure, it was before we knew we were going to homeschool, but it was before we had started homeschooling. And our one child was very sick, had 5 operations between 8 and 13 months. And I remember saying to the Lord, I can't give up on my time alone with him, because that for me was my bedrock on which I built my day. There was very little sleep in those times. It was in and out of hospitals and all the medication and all the side effects, and then obviously trying to care for an older child who was 3, and just really wearying and hard. But I kept on going and pushing through, sometimes with just sheer grit and determination. Just even if it was just reading one of the Psalms and praying, because for me that was my safety net in my day, was making sure that pillar was in place. and then I could kind of face everything else that would come at me, sometimes with grace and sometimes not so much, but I had to try. So that would be one of my tips is, make sure that pillar remains in place. We're not talking about an hour in, prayer, and it doesn't have to be that, but keep that pillar in place in your life. Another tip from you?
Yeah, I think just, putting aside time to, like you say, fill yourself with something positive definitely makes, it definitely helps. And I mean, nowadays we've got so many tools where you can be multitasking, listening to a podcast while you're cooking or while you're out walking or something. So definitely you do need to fill yourself up with those positive things, especially if you are feeling weary. And of course, we've said this over and over, but I think the worst thing we do is compare ourselves with some unrealistic ideal.
Yeah.
And imagine that we should be this super spiritual mom, this super house cleaning angel, this super gentle mom that's always got patience for her kids. And of course, those are things we do aspire to, but you're not going to be super in every category every day. And you've just got to accept that. And I think there was a season where I realized that I had listened to teachings and things that kind of set even unbiblical ideas in my mind, like, I'm going to be good enough for God if I do X, Y, Z. And then my circumstances just didn't allow that, and other relationships didn't allow that. And then I realized, but then I'm not under grace. If I'm trying to perform to earn God's pleasure, then I'm putting that false thing on myself. And once I recognized it, I was like, it's okay, So I think we also need to ponder, what is it that's making us feel stressed and like we're not living up to our own false expectations. Sometimes it's false, sometimes it's real.
So in fact, that's just leading into the next thought that I had, was that we have to identify the things that we can change, the things that pull us down and make us weary. And one of the things I know is that if I read too much news, if I have got too much social media coming at me and too many people's opinions, whether it be about COVID, vaccine, Afghanistan, whatever that we're sitting with just as a mix, this week, that's where the head keeps on going to. And those things can really pull you down. Now, there does need to be a certain level of knowing what is going on in our world as we watch things heat up and the clock run toward the end times. We have to be aware of what is going on. But it is also fine to take a break, take a media fast. If there are relationships in your life that are seriously toxic and they are pulling you down and making you weary, and it's playing itself out in your home, there's also a season that you can pull back from those relationships so that you can be at peace with your children, and make sure that your focus is where it needs to be. And we know from Titus 2, God instructs the women to be busy in their own homes, loving their husband, loving their children. And after that, everything else can follow. Then comes the business, then come the ministries, then comes everything else. But if those core things remain in place and you cut out for a season all the other peripheral stuff that drags you down and makes you weary, you probably find that you've got a little bit more energy to focus on doing good in your home and with your kids. The last thing I thought that I would ask you to share, because you always share so beautifully on it, is character before curriculum. That is another thing that we do often harp on. We do talk about it a lot. Don't let your curriculum be your taskmaster, etc. So in closing, you want to just give some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing thing to unlearn the bad ways we've been parented perhaps, or even just been disciplined maybe in the school system, like generations past did things so differently. And maybe not everybody has to learn what I've had to learn, but I really had to learn what is grace. Instead of being authoritarian, how do I sit a child down, talk to them and say, this is not how we do things in our home. We don't yell at each other, or we don't grab books, or we don't fight over something. If you want something that somebody else is playing with, this is how we communicate, and just to recognize those real valuable moments, because the more you do them, the less you have to do them. And that brings so much more peace in your home. So definitely, the character are the valuable lessons. And like I always say, you don't find them in the pages of the book. Sometimes you have to put the book aside to have this really important lesson. And it's reaching the child's heart, and keeping yourself calm while you're doing it is the challenge.
It is. And again, if you're so overwrought because of all the information that you've received, and you've got a hot conversation going on Facebook, or you've got a to-do list, that's so long, you don't really carve out those times to sit with your children and have those heart connections. That was wonderful. Well, I hope that's helpful to others. And then again, for folks watching on the 26th, we are having our live stream on Christian home education, being joined by 2 other moms, and we are sharing from our hearts about our journeys as Christian home educators. So it would be lovely if folk go. I'll put the link below to sign up at Quicket. Lovely chatting again, Shirley.